Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers divisional round playoff matchup versus the LA Rams. If you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos, and leave your thoughts, opinions, and your score predictions for this game down in the comments section below. As always, I love reading your guys' comments, seeing your thoughts, your opinions, and your score predictions as well. Quick reminder, I will be going live for the game, the usual live stream reactions I've been doing here for the past couple of years. Folks, you're not going to find a better Bucs reaction live stream anywhere else on the platform, so make sure you come and check out the reaction live stream that we will be doing here on the channel. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But I have a few thoughts, right, thinking about this game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus LA Rams. And my first thought was this: can Brady and the Bucs redeem themselves from the earlier loss they had this regular season to the LA Rams? For those of you who do not remember, the Bucs already played the Rams this year, and while the stat sheet, while the scoreboard would indicate that it was a closer game, the Buccaneers lost, I believe, with a final score of 34-24. I know it was a 10-point loss by the Buccaneers at the very least. The Rams, I remember, were in control for pretty much the entirety of that game. The defense of the Rams really gave Brady and the Bucs a lot of frustrations, a lot of problems that led to a couple of interceptions by Brady, and overall it was too late for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to try and catch up. The Rams offense, I also felt, did a fantastic job against the Bucs defense. Stafford, it was arguably his best game as a Ram. Cooper Kupp did Cooper Kupp things, as well as some of the other playmakers that the LA Rams had at the time. Now, a lot of things have changed since that game. That is a very important distinction to make here. So let's see, right? Let's see what Brady and the Bucs can do. Can they get their redemption, or will they lose in the divisional round and get sent home? And tell you what this reminds me of, and I know a lot of people are going to be making this comparison. Remember last year when the New Orleans Saints swept the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the regular season? The Bucs got to play the Saints again in the divisional round of the playoffs last year, and the Bucs won. They got that redemption. They knocked the Saints out of the playoffs. Drew Brees retired, right? And the Buccaneers did eventually go on to win the Super Bowl. Folks, it seems like this is a very close comparison to make here with the Rams and Saints from last year. So it's going to be interesting to see, right? You know, Tom Brady is definitely pissed off about how that last game went. He's going to be wanting to get some revenge. Of course, he's going to want to go and try and repeat for a second Super Bowl. But, the Rams aren't going to just lie down and roll over easy. They are going to give the Buccaneers their absolute best. So this is going to be one heck of a brawl, one heck of a match to watch. And that's one of the biggest points I wanted to make here, was Brady and the Bucs are going to try and get their redemption. Now we're just going to have to wait and see if they're going to be able to actually do it. The second point that I want to talk about here is, man, injuries again. Like I said just a moment ago, these two teams are very different from where they were the last time they played each other. One of the biggest reasons for that is because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very, very much hurt. I mean, looking at the offensive side of the football alone, right? Brashad Perriman ruled out for this game. Granted, he wasn't there the last time the Bucs played the Rams, but you get my point. Ronald Jones ruled out for this game. Tristan Wirfs, going to be a game-time decision. Ryan Jensen, going to be a game-time decision. Leonard Fournette, probably going to play, but he's not going to be 100% out there, and the list goes on and on and on. Chris Godwin, he's out for the year. Antonio Brown, he left, all these other different types of things. And that's just the offensive side of the football, right? On the defensive side of the football, you still have guys who are dealing with injuries. Sean Murphy-Bunting, he's questionable for the game. Mike Edwards, he's playing through an injury. Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, these guys are all playing through injuries. And I know a similar thing can be said for the LA Rams. Of course, every player in the NFL at this point is dealing with injuries one way or another. But come on, folks. I mean, the Bucs injury report list looks like a shopping list at this point. Like, that is not an exaggeration. It is absolutely insane, the amount of injuries the Buccaneers have been dealing with this year. It has been the story of the entire season. And it's going to be a main talking point as to whether or not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can win this game or they lose this game. If they are too hurt, it will be very, very difficult for them to win a game like this against an LA Rams team that is for the most part healthy in terms of all of their starters. But if some guys are able to step up, play through some injuries, some other guys are able to step up with a next man up mentality type of situation, then my gosh, the momentum you get, the rallying of the troops, whatever you want to call it, is going to be absolutely huge for this Bucs team, and it could propel them all the way to the Super Bowl if they are able to get past this Rams team that I think is going to be a very, very difficult matchup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So injuries have been the story of the entire season for this Bucs team, and it continues here in this divisional round of the playoffs. And I just spoke a moment ago about the Rams being a tough matchup, arguably the toughest matchup for the Bucs throughout the entirety of the year. And that's the next point I want to talk about, right? Because you look at the Rams defense, they match up extremely well against what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like to do on offense. The Rams love to defend against passing attacks. That's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers excel at. They love having a potent passing attack. Rams defense versus Buccaneers offense here, it's going to be a tougher matchup for the Bucs offense, especially considering you're down a good amount of starting high-tier caliber weapons. On the Bucs defense versus the Rams offense, the roles are switched here. The Buccaneers passing defense, arguably their weaker unit out of their run and pass defense. The Rams, they love passing the football. Cooper Kupp was the best wide receiver in football this year. Matthew Stafford arguably had his best year ever as a quarterback. So, again, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Granted, their defense just did a fantastic job versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and these playoff games are really where you start to see the entirety of the Buccaneers defense begin to form, take shape, and really play some good defensive football. So fingers crossed that happens. But at least on paper, when you look at it, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Bucs any way you slice it. If you're the Buccaneers offense, it's going to be tough going up against the Rams defense. If you're the Buccaneers defense, it's going to be tough going up against the Rams offense. It's just how it is right now. So when you compound those tough matchups with injuries, it's a tough situation to be in here for the Bucs. And I know I sound pessimistic about all of this, but just stay with me, right? We still have more points that I want to talk about here. One of the main positive points here for the Bucs is that this game is at home, and the Bucs have not lost at home very often this year. They are 7-1, the one loss being to the New Orleans Saints because, of course, it was at home this year. That is an important thing to make a note of here. That is an important distinction to make. The Buccaneers get this game at home. I think that's huge. I hope everybody fills the seats. The rows at Raymond James Stadium with red and pewter and, just cheers their heads off for these Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they are going to need all of the support that they can get to throw off the Rams on both offense and defense. So if you're going to the game, cheer your head off, folks. We need to make this a home field advantage. That is going to be huge for the Bucs here in overall gaining momentum and being as efficient as they can be. And finally, folks, I want to talk about this, right? You look at the storylines that have been surrounding the LA Rams from the national media specifically, and they are trying very, very hard to compare the LA Rams this year to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of last year. Let me explain. You look at Matthew Stafford, right? The LA Rams went out, they traded for Matthew Stafford, gave up a lot of high-tier draft capital to acquire the disgruntled Lions quarterback, and he's had a fantastic year. Again, he's had a career year here with the LA Rams. At the time of that move, a lot of people made comparisons to it being a very similar, near identical move to what the Buccaneers did whenever they got Tom Brady in free agency. Those are not the same thing, obviously, because the Buccaneers did not have to trade for Tom Brady. They signed him in free agency, but you get my point. The Rams felt that they were a quarterback away. They went out and got Matthew Stafford, who, a lot of people had felt that, could lead a team to the Super Bowl. Now he's finally getting that shot. Then, a little bit later on in the season, the Rams start playing some games. They start building some momentum for themselves. A wide receiver sustains an injury. Oh no, what are they going to do? Robert Woods was out, right? I believe he had torn his ACL, something along those lines. They go out, they sign a disgruntled diva wide receiver, right, in Odell Beckham. He was not happy with his situation with the Cleveland Browns. They released him. He signed immediately with the LA Rams. Where does this situation sound familiar? Of course, Antonio Brown and the Buccaneers. And Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham, a lot of people make comparisons between the two. There are obviously big differences between these two players and how they, act as professional athletes and all these other different types of things. But again, the comparisons can be made there. The metaphors can be made there, whatever you want to call it. The similarities, right? And Odell Beckham, kind of had an Antonio Brown type resurgence. He has come in, he has immediately melted, into the offense with Matthew Stafford and the Rams, and he has been productive in the playoffs. Again, where does this sound familiar? But then finally, folks, this is a big comparison for me. The Super Bowl this year, where is it being hosted? LA. What are the Rams trying to do? They're trying to get to the Super Bowl so they can play a hometown Super Bowl and potentially win in their hometown, right? They went out, they got Von Miller, an outside linebacker. They made all of these big marquee moves, right? It's Super Bowl or bust this year for the LA Rams because the owners definitely want to get to a hometown Super Bowl and be the second team to ever win a Super Bowl in their hometown. Why do I say the second? Because just last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the first team. So you can see where the comparisons can be made here, right? The quarterback, the wide receiver situation, the hometown Super Bowl, the Super Bowl or bust type of mentality. All of these different types of comparisons have been made by the national media between the LA Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it's important to remember who did it first, right? And the Rams, they're trying to, copy what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, is what they say. And it's going to be a very interesting storyline going into this game, right? Because, whoever wins, right? It's either going to be the Rams, threw it all against the wall and it didn't work. Or it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers falling to the wayside for, the team that is copying the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and all the things that they did as they attempt to get to a hometown Super Bowl just like the Bucs did last year. And I think that is an incredibly interesting storyline to pay attention to here going into this game. But, guys, at the end of the day, I know a lot of things I sounded pessimistic about, right? The comparisons, the storylines, the injuries, all these other different types of things, right? But I am going to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the win here. This game is at home. The Bucs do not lose at home. I know they lost to the Saints, but still, they're 7-1 at home. This is great home field advantage for this team. Yes, there are injuries, but an important thing to note here is that Rob Gronkowski, he's fully healthy. He's going to be ready to go. He missed most of that Rams game the last time these two teams played. I think he's going to be an X factor in this game. Hopefully getting guys like Leonard Fournette back is going to be huge. I think it will be. Mike Evans looked great in his first playoff game. He's got or his first playoff game this year, I guess I should say. He's got an incredibly difficult matchup with Jalen Ramsey, so potentially look for other guys like Tyler Johnson and, maybe guys like John Brown, Scotty Miller, some of these other wide receivers that are backups right now to potentially step up. But, hopefully Tristan Wirfs and Ryan Jensen can play. Again, despite all those pessimistic things I said, I'm going to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the win here. I think they are going to really grit out a win in what is going to be a freaking slugging boxing match, right? I think the final score of this game is going to be 27-24 in favor of the Bucs. I think it's going to be a very close game. Both defenses are going to have their moments, but ultimately, this is going to be an offensive showdown between two teams that have been really heavily compared to one another. The team that did it first in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the team that is trying to copy the Bucs in the LA Rams. So, strap in, folks, get your popcorn, because there's a lot of storylines going into this game. There's a lot of moving parts, and, I think the real playoffs are starting to begin right here and now. So again, what do you guys think about this game? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions and your score predictions as well. Leave those in there in the comments as well. Again, don't forget, I will be going live for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Rams game, the Bucs reaction live stream that we've been doing on this channel for a couple of years now. Again, folks, you won't find a better Bucs reaction live stream anywhere else here on the YouTube platform. I can guarantee you that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.